We have a respected Browns insider, Daniel Fusi. He taps in on ESPN Cleveland, the grocery report with Chops. And we've been hearing a lot of trade rumors, and everyone's been pushing Todd Monken about when will he name a QB starter. Now, welcome to Reese Will Sports Talk. Like and subscribe, join the channel where I touch different sports topics, and let's see what he has to say.
Among the Cleveland Browns, if the Browns were to win this game at home.
So without further ado, let's tap into it.
Training camp too, and Flacco was just kind of the consistent. But Daniel, speaking about the quarterback competition, obviously it's going to be the number one storyline going into everything. Where do you see things going into training camp, and how do you kind of, I don't want you to predict where it will go, but let's go, how do you think it's going to go timing wise? Because that's interesting, because we don't really have a point of reference to a Todd Monken quarterback competition. I know that the QB coach kind of said it might settle itself early, but how do you see this kind of going timeline wise?
Well, yeah, it's really interesting because Monken obviously indicated that he wants to see these guys in more game-like settings. So that means padded practices where there's more physicality, a more livelier pass rush. And he also kind of hinted at seeing these guys in preseason games. Mm-hmm. So if I'm looking at it that way, I almost think that's not how I think it'll go, but it's just how I kind of assume, I'm kind of predicting, if you want to see these guys in preseason games, it almost to me seems like, hey, you have your first couple of weeks of training camp.
Yeah.
The first preseason game, you put, Deshaun out there, you give him a quarter with, a good amount of the starters. And then, the second game, you give Shedeur, a quarter or a half with the starters. And then by then you would have had, multiple weeks of practice. You would have had joint practices with the Bills. And then you would have had, 2 games worth of film to judge.
I agree. I got to say this before anything else. I don't care what anybody says. You cannot name a starting quarterback in training camp or joint practices with the Bills. You have to, you got to see what Deshaun Watson can do in the preseason games or 1 or 2 games. You just can't go out there and just name a starter in training camp and they barely even hitting, or they just now hitting. And, I know some people are already locked in, especially in the Cleveland media. They made their minds up. They're saying that we've seen enough. There's some people in the media, and we've seen enough. And after every mini camp or OTA practice, one QB looks better than the other in practice. Then the next guy looks better than the other guy in the next practice. But, I believe that you got to go into those preseason games and see what Deshaun Watson, what he got left. And I believe you can see that. You can see what he looks like in real game settings, not practice, not clips, not reports, a game. And, that's what I believe. That's retapping.
If they want to take into the preseason, I feel like you got to see these guys, and you got to give both of these guys opportunities to run the starters. So I'm not sure if this is something that'll be decided, after the first preseason game, after a couple of weeks of practice. I feel like we might go into the third preseason game. We might exit the second preseason game and kind of waiting for Todd Monken to make a decision.
Do you think it's important for the Browns to see Deshaun Watson in an actual game and maybe take some hits? He hasn't played football in a long time, and they're saying he looks good athletically out there, but again, you can only do so much. Do you think that that's maybe part of their checklist for him? It seems like through the spring they kind of had a checklist for him. Do you think that's on the checklist?
Well, yeah, I'll say it is absolutely important to see Deshaun in a real game before making a decision on starter. And I thought that, I know that Monken and a lot of us were kind of looking at that post-mandatory minicamp time that as a deadline to make to name a starter. I felt like it was always kind of an arbitrary deadline, because Monken said that he wouldn't rush a decision and he would let it play out. But for that very reason, I think it is absolutely important to see Deshaun in those games, in at least one preseason game, because the issue for me with Deshaun has never been he looks healthy. He was moving around well. I think that even to me, he was more aggressive and willing to push the ball downfield than he was the last time I saw him play competitive football, which also might speak to like the health and the confidence that he's feeling in that shoulder. Because last time he got hurt, he was coming off the shoulder surgery, and in training camp, even he wasn't throwing with very much. He wasn't throwing consistent, like he was getting days off and stuff like that. And for me, the last time I saw Deshaun on the field, it was as much mental as it was physical. I think that he's looked great in 7-on-7s, but then when you have 11-on-11 and more bodies, he hasn't been that sharp. So what is it like when guys are really coming at you in those games? I think that's when we've seen him maybe be a step slow in his decision making and his processing. So I think it's extremely important to see him not only in joint practices, but definitely a preseason game to see how he is. I want to see him in the most game-like setting I can before I play an actual game that counts. So it's definitely important to me.
Because preseason might not count, but it tells you everything you need to know in timing, confidence, decision-making under pressure. That stuff, you can't fake that stuff. And that's the part that people are skipping over right now. To me, think about it like this: practice is like a rehearsal. Preseason, that's the dress rehearsal. Then when things speed up, that's when the mistakes start showing up. That's when you find out real quick, is a quarterback comfortable or just getting by? So if the Browns name a starter before that, now you guessing, to me. And this team they don't need to be guessing at quarterback anymore. Now, I appreciate y'all, man. Let's talk about it in the comments. Let me know what you think about. Do you think they should name a starter now? I know a lot of Shedeur fans. I'm a Shedeur fan, and everybody's gonna be like, just go on the name Shedeur. But this is what we dealing with right now. People, they gonna make it a competition or whatever. I would rather Shedeur start, and people who know me on the channel understand where I stand. Know what I stand by is I want Shedeur to start. But this is the cards we dealt. So let me know in the comments what you think about it. Do you think they should wait until preseason? Should they name the starter early, or should they? Well, I know a lot of my subscribers are gonna say just go on the name Shedeur, and that's what I'm riding with too. But we got to deal with this, and but I think they should definitely go ahead and run it until the preseason, and make sure that if this guy is back, or if his confidence is waving, or is he washed. Let me know, you guys. Appreciate y'all, man, and see you in the next video.